My name is Tom Davison. I'm 69 years old. I'm a retired journalist. I'm here because I walked around the perimeter of Fife. I think I may well have been the only person to have done so. And I did so for a charity that's become really quite close to my heart, a charity called Fife Boomerang. I retired from work 7 years ago. I used to be a keen marathon runner. I'm no longer able to run marathons because I've run so many miles that I've got bad feet. And I determined that I wanted to retain some level of fitness, and I thought the best way to do that is to join the organisation, join the trust. And this place, Cupar Sports Centre, is only a couple of miles from my home. It's very convenient. I like coming here. I try to come here about 4 days a week if I can. The staff are very friendly. It's got all the facilities I need, and I'm quite happy here. Since I started coming here, because I can no longer run, I find I'm doing different kinds of exercise. So I'm doing both aerobic and anaerobic exercise, which is not something I've done previously. And I think it leads to all-round fitness in a way that road running really didn't do. So I'm finding that a wee bit different. And I do enjoy that. I try to mix what I do in the gym, lots of variety, and just really it's about just keeping up a level of physical fitness. As someone who used to be a runner all his life, and I used to run a lot, I used to do 10 miles a day and did so for about 30 or 40 years, it was a really good switch off for me mentally. I'd get myself in some sort of zone. And when I found I was no longer able to run, I really had to find something to replicate that, and I find that in the gym. So sometimes I have an earpiece and I listen to music while I'm working out. And that's a really good switch off for me. I think, I actually don't think of anything. So when I come here, I usually spend about an hour or an hour and a quarter in here. And in that time, I don't think I think of anything at all. And that's very good for you, I think, sometimes. I've always been keen on walking, on long-distance walks, and I wanted to do another long-distance walk, but I didn't want to leave home to do it. I wanted to stay at home, and so I come up with this idea to walk around the perimeter of Fife, each night returning to my home, and the next day going back to the point at which I left off. I came up with the idea of walking around the perimeter of Fife because I don't think anyone's done it before. If they have, I apologise to that person, but I don't think anyone has done it before. So it involves walking the 117 miles of the Fife coastal path and then another 60 or so down Fife's landward border with Perth and Kinross and Clackmannanshire. And really I did this because I wanted to raise money for a charity called Fife Boomerang. Fife Boomerang is based in Glenrothes. What it does is to take people who have mental health issues out on trips 2 days a week. It has about 100 people who use it, they call them members, and they have a minibus, and twice a week they go on interesting trips. Some of these trips can involve physical activities, some of them are more cultural in nature. It's all about really improving their chances of mixing with people, having some fun and getting some friendship in their lives. A lot of these people, because they have mental health issues, live on the fringes of society. And the charity recognised that it's important to address issues of social isolation, and that's exactly what it does. Why I became involved in this charity in particular was that I had a period many years ago now where I was off work for 3 months with depression, really caused by work-related stress. And ever since then I've been more aware than ever of the need to address mental health issues. And I think this charity does a fine job in doing that. Because the walk I was doing was round the perimeter of Fife, I wanted to choose a charity that was based in Fife. And I also wanted to choose a charity that probably didn't have a lot of money, and any money I raised would be a significant contribution to them, and I think that's been the case. And furthermore, obviously, I wanted to raise money for a charity that works in the mental health field. And I had to do some research. I went online and I Googled and I found Fife Boomerang, and I'm ever so glad that I have, because I've now become part of their team, if you like, in a very informal way. When I completed the walk, I was invited to a lunch with them, and I spoke to some of the members, and they gave me a wee plaque, and they've been great, and they've even made me an honorary member, which is nice. So this is a T-shirt I wore when I was walking round the perimeter of Fife. I called my walk the Circuit of Fife Walk, and I wanted people to be familiar with the Fife Boomerang van. It goes round Fife picking up people from their homes or from a convenient spot, so it will travel to Kirkcaldy and Glenrothes and so forth, and for each trip, picking folk up. So some folk will have seen this van around, and I want more people to see it because I recognise that there are many, many more people that the charity could help. So when I was doing the walk, I determined that I was going to speak to as many people as I possibly could. So wearing the T-shirt helped because people would ask, what am I doing? What's this about? And I also made up little cards in which I explained what I was doing, what my name is, and why I was doing this walk. And the cards had QR codes on them, 2 of them. One took people to a blog which I wrote every night, and this blog really featured my experiences of the day, what I did, who I saw, what my impressions were of that particular part of the walk. And there was also a QR code which linked people to a page where they could donate money. And I'm pleased to say that many people did do that. When I started this venture, I had no idea at all how much money I could raise, so I almost arbitrarily came up with £500 as a target. I realised after a while that maybe that was a wee bit of an underestimate. I got more friends than I thought I had, so I upped that to £1,000, and I left my target at £1,000, even though I managed to raise a good bit more than that. I think the latest sum is £1,555. When I came up with the idea of walking around the perimeter of Fife, I hadn't any thoughts at all about raising money for charity, but I thought, since I'm going to do it, I should do it for a good cause. And I would recommend that anyone who does a venture such as the one I've just embarked on should consider doing it for a good cause. It's a waste of an opportunity. Several of the staff members here have been really interested to find out what I've been doing, and I've been happy to share my experiences with them. They're a very friendly bunch here, and I take every opportunity to have a chat with them.